Let's go live to Liberal MP, member for Flinders, Zoe McKenzie. Let's start on the detainee issue. Was this all about politics for the coalition? The Prime Minister said you voted one way in the lower house and then shifted the next day because of the politics in the Senate.
Absolutely not, Kieran. Interestingly, the draft legislation was given to the coalition on Tuesday. In fact, the draft we were given was dated Friday, so who knows why we couldn't be told about it on Friday. Anyway, we get it on Tuesday. Every effort was made to get it through. We went through the House very quickly, up to the Senate, which is the place where we do have time to investigate. Quick committee hearings held in the last couple of nights to investigate the urgency, only to find it's not urgent. You've got to remember, Kieran, these guys have form. We got dragged back at extraordinary expense last December to pass measures in exactly this space which have not actually ever been used. So, given that we know it's not urgent as in a matter of days, the Senate has done what the Senate is very good at doing, which is to investigate the need for the bill and is this fit for purpose legislation. James Paterson and I sit on PJCIS, and that's the committee that ends up having to look at these bills to make sure that they are robustly fit for purpose for what they do. The faster they go through, inevitably mistakes are made. It needs to be done carefully, and that is what is proposed. And James has made it clear. If we need to come back to pass it, we will.
The PJCIS, just for clarity for the viewers, the PJCIS is the most... it's the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security. It's the most influential parliamentary committee on these matters. And as you say, you've got to scrutinise, and there's often briefing by the security agencies that we're not made aware of. But when it comes to the coalition, you're renowned for being tough on the borders. This is a tough bill. Why not just back it?
Absolutely we are, but we need to make sure it's fit for purpose. Sometimes what you have to do is go back and amend these laws. It's better to get it right the first time if you can. And so that is precisely the progress, the process that the coalition has put in train under Senator Paterson's leadership, and we'll make sure that it's right. And if it's right by next Thursday, we'll go back next Thursday. He's made it quite clear. As it was, the House sat around till about 8 o'clock last night. There was never a message that came back from the Senate.
But what's the concern about it?
The government could have sent everyone home in the afternoon. Oh, it was mainly that there was an assertion that it was absolutely urgent and had to be passed this week. And in fact, when those questions were put to the Department of Home Affairs in relation to, is this in relation to a High Court decision? Is that decision imminent? Do we think there's going to be a problem? In fact, it would appear that the government is confident that they're going to win the High Court case at the moment, based on what I understand from the papers this morning. So the urgency is just not there. Get it right the first time. Don't make us come back and amend it later.
On the Prime Minister's response to the ongoing crisis in Alice Springs, again, when these matters happen, understandably, there are calls for the leaders, the nation's leaders, the territory leaders to visit and see and talk to the people on the ground. The Prime Minister said he's been to the Northern Territory 9 times since he's become Prime Minister. What's your read on this and the federal response to what is a shocking ongoing crisis in Alice?
Well, Kieran, so you and I both just would have watched that press conference now from the Chief Minister and the Commissioner of Police in the Northern Territory. It is clear the situation is out of control, and it is clear that they are desperate. The Chief Minister herself basically said, I'm open to all ideas, right? I don't know why the Prime Minister is sitting in a vineyard in the Hunter with his union mates and, frankly, not back on his plane and heading to Alice Springs right now. You saw Peter Dutton and Senator Jacinta Price in Alice so many times last year. This is not a new problem. The only reason you have a curfew in place now and 58 additional policemen heading to Alice Springs is because of the consistent pressure that they have put on this issue to say it's a law and order issue. This week, we introduced into the House legislation that would have made it illegal to post on social media criminal activity done by young people and posted for fun. That, you know, the larrikin driving of 200 kilometres an hour down a freeway happens in my electorate too. That's then posted on social media. So we put in a measure to make that illegal. Do you think the government backed us on that? No, they did not, right? They are missing in action on this. They have been missing in action on Alice for well over a year, telling us the Voice would solve everything. Well, the voice wasn't going to solve anything. The problem has been there for a long time, and the Prime Minister needs to turn up. You could hear the desperation in their voices. We made this point when they rescinded the cashless debit card shortly after getting elected. We said this will cause untold damage in Indigenous lives and townships. And look at it, it is doing precisely as we suggested it would. They need to act. They need to act urgently. The Prime Minister needs to get into Alice Springs this weekend.
Zoe McKenzie, thanks. Appreciate it. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Kieran.